The Senate back from its Thanksgiving recess with a list of things to knock out before the end of the year. Congress is trying to work out the details of its spending bill before government funding runs out on December 11th. Republicans and Democrats also under growing pressure to revive the stalled coronavirus relief talks, with several parts of the CARE Act set to expire at the end of December. NBC News correspondent Leigh Caldwell's on Capitol Hill. Leigh, let's start with COVID relief. What programs under the CARES Act are set to run out come late December?
Hey, Allison. Well, time is really of the essence because things are getting real. Up to 14 million people could lose their unemployment benefits, but the day after Christmas. That's because 2 unemployment programs are set to run out. One of them is one where gig workers and freelancers are able to access the jobless benefits program, something they couldn't do before this pandemic. Another is the unemployment program that allows people to get unemployment benefits for an additional 13 weeks beyond the 26 weeks that the states allow. So those are 2 big programs that are set to impact nearly 14 million people. But that's not it. There's a couple other things as well. The eviction moratorium is set to expire at the end of the month. The student loan forgiveness program for the time being is set to expire at the end of the month. And also there's a program of family paid leave, sick leave, for people who have to miss work because of COVID. The government will reimburse the employers for that program. That is set to expire at the end of the month, too. So there is a lot of pressure on Congress to act because a lot of people could be impacted if they don't do something, Allison.
Leigh, over the weekend, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called Majority Leader Mitch McConnell back to the COVID relief negotiating table, saying vaccine distribution is on the line. Here he is.
Vaccines don't cure illness. Shots in the arm cure illness. We need big relief. And among the relief we need, part of the HEROES bill, is the money to the states, once the vaccine is produced, to distribute it.
Leigh, Schumer's still pushing for the $2 trillion HEROES Act. McConnell wants a smaller plan. Any sign of a compromise or some common ground here?
Well, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell would also agree that there needs to be funding for a vaccine distribution. But again, they can't agree on the details of many issues. They're still far, far apart on the dollar amount. But Allison, there's a little bit of news today. There is a bipartisan group of Senate Republicans and Democrats who have convened their own negotiations. They have been speaking every day during the whole week of Thanksgiving, and those talks are continuing. And I'm told that they are making a lot of progress, especially on issues such as the Small Business Paycheck Protection Program, unemployment insurance, and exactly what Senator Schumer was talking about funding for a vaccine distribution program. Well, the thing is that going to go anywhere? Is that going to get the Democratic and Republican leaders on board to also be part of these negotiations? Well, the talks of these bipartisan senators are early, but they are still ongoing, and there are some major sticking points, and they're the same sticking points that the leaders had. Liability protection, which is what the Republicans want, and state and local money, which is what the Democrats want. But I'm told by sources that there is some hope that they can make some sort of progress this week, Allison.
All right, Leigh, we know December 11th is the deadline for Congress to prevent a government shutdown. Before Thanksgiving, the Appropriations Committees agreed on a $1.4 trillion price tag for a spending bill. Where do they stand on how that money will be spent?
They're still working on it, and as we speak at this moment, top leaders of those appropriations committees, the funding committees in the House and the Senate, are currently meeting to talk about that. The fact that the principals, the senators and the House members themselves are meeting, and it's not just staff, is a relatively good sign that they could be making lots of progress, that the staff made lots of progress over the weekend. But the rundown is that if they don't meet this December 11th deadline, that means the government will shut down. And so they are in a race until that deadline to try to get something done and passed both houses of Congress and signed into law by the president before midnight on that day, Allison.
Leanne, this week, Democrat Mark Kelly will be sworn in as the newest senator from Arizona. Republicans, of course, still have the majority in the Senate. But how could his arrival impact negotiations on the Hill?
Well, Republicans go from 53 senators to 52 senators, and every senator matters, especially when there is such a slim majority. We saw that just a couple weeks ago when Senate Republicans tried to push through a controversial nominee to the Federal Reserve Board named Judy Shelton. There's 3 Republicans who voted against her, and there was a couple senators who had COVID or were quarantining because of COVID, and so she failed. Well, with Mark Kelly being sworn in on Wednesday, that does not give Senate Republicans enough time, most likely, to bring up Judy Shelton, this controversial nominee, again. And it just also means that there's less margin of error for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to get through legislation he wants, and most importantly, nominations that he wants to get through before Joe Biden becomes the president in January. Allison.
All right, Leanne, we'll see if that puts any pressure on negotiations, getting things moving along here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.